My name is Karen, a facilitator from Makers Place in Ghana, and in today's session we are going to do object tracker. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to open up your picto blocks if you've not already done that. If you've already done that and you are working on a project, so you are going to create a new project. If not, we can get going. So I have my picto blocks already, so I'm going to pick up from here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the add extension button, which is at bottom left corner right under the palette, and add the extension object detection. So I'm going to wait for it to load up. Okay, great. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to upload our backdrop. So the backdrop is at the right bottom corner. I'm going to upload it. So I go to upload backdrop. My backdrop's name is Kids and Basses. I click on it, then I open it and my backdrop gets uploaded. Okay, so I click on blocks to go back. Alright, so in today's project, we are not going to use our sprite Toby. We are going to use a sprite box. So we would have to delete Toby. So I click on Toby and a delete button pops up. So I click on it, then I delete Toby. I then go to choose a sprite. Then I choose the sprite square box. Okay, so I don't want to use the color because it's having the same color as the bus. So I'm going to go to costume. Then I'll go with pink. Alright, so there we go. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to add a header block, which is when flag click, which is under the event palette. So I go to event, I drag and drop when flag click to the scripting area. And the next block we are going to add is analyze image. Okay, so that is under object detection. And I have analyze image from here. Okay, so it's going to analyze the image from our stage. And by default, it's on camera. So I'm going to click on the drop down arrow here. Then I choose stage. Okay, and I'm also going to hide our box. So to do that, still under object detection, I choose show bounding box. By default it's show, and I'm going to change it to hide. So hide bounding box. Okay, now the next step we are going to do is I'm going to create a variable. Okay, I'm going to create a variable. So I go to the variables palette, make a variable, and I'm going to name our variable object. Okay, so I save it. We see our variable showing on the stage. So our variable is on the stage. So I'm going to set my variable to 0. So set object, because that was the name of the variable I created, set object to 0. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a repeat block to it, and the repeat block is under the controls palette. See, so I'm going to use repeat until. So I drag and drop the repeat until there. Okay, then I'm going to add the boolean, which is under operators. We are going to use the equal to. So I pick it and I snap it. The hexagon block with equal to. I snap it here. Okay, so we are going to get the object, which is under the object detection. So I'm going to use get number of objects. So we snap it inside the first one, and the number of objects we are getting should be equal to our variable that we created. So I'm going to pick it and then I snap it in here. Okay, so our next step we are going to do is we are going to change our variable by 1. Okay, so I go to my variables palette. Okay, and then I pick change by 1. I'm going to use the drop down arrow here to change it to my variable I created, which was object. So that is by 1. And I'm going to set the size of my block, okay? And set on the size of my block is under looks, okay? So I go to looks and then I choose set size to, okay? So set size to, pick set size to, and then I snap it under the change object, which is inside onto the repeat block. And then I go to object detection. Which size do I want to set to? That is of the object, okay? So by default it is class. So I'm going to click on the drop down arrow and then I choose width, okay? And then I go to my variables, I'm going to pick object and then I snap it in here. So we are going to set the width of the objects to the variables that I created. Okay, the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to create a position. Okay, so to create the positions, we go to motion. So we are going to set X to, that is the first one we are going to work on, set X to. We go to object detection. Okay, snap it in here. We change from class to X position. Don't forget the default is always class, so you'd have to change it. I go back to my variables palette and then I pick object and I snap it in here. And we're also going to set the Y position. So I go to motion, set Y to, I snap it in here. I go back to the object detection. Okay, put it here, change from class to Y. Then I go to my variables palette and then I add objects. Okay, so we've set the positions, we've set the width, the position, we have an X, Y. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to say the class of the objects for 2 seconds. So I go to looks, then I add say for 2 seconds. So I'm going to snap it under the set Y. I go to object detection. So I have class, okay, it goes to where the hello is, we snap it in there. I go to my variables palette, I pick my variable object, I snap it here. So we are saying the class for 2 seconds, okay? So this is our script, we are good to go. So our script is saying when our flag is clicked, we analyze the image on the stage, we hide our bounding box, we set our objects to 0 and repeat whatever function is inside the repeat block. So I'm going to run the code by clicking on the flag. Okay. So we realize that each time our bounding box appeared on an object, it told us the name, or it said the name of the object, and we have a number of objects here being 3. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the next session. Bye.